Okay, so you get to watch me make liver treats. So what I have here is tender young beef liver in slices. It is thoroughly, as you can see, defrosted. It's best this way, otherwise you end up with liver slurry, which is not good. And I have plain old-fashioned oats. I'm going to put, and I'm using a food processor. I know one person who uses one of those kitchen aids. I don't own one, but I petted his. So I'm going to put 2 cups, just even, in my food processor. It's going to get noisy here in a minute. And make oat flour. Now if your dog's allergic to oats, you can use what you want. Malcolm's allergic to rice flour. I'm going to pulse the oats initially, just to kind of get them down. I'm using that lower blade so that it really chops them up nice. And then I'm going to just beat the crap out of them. And we'll do it now, okay? Okay, so what I have here, let me take the camera over with you, is really nice looking oat flour now. It's kind of coarse, but the dogs don't care. Okay, now I'm going to grab my scissors. Malcolm is going, ooh, I know that sound. I'm going to open my liver. Every dog in the house is going to go, oh my God, she opened the liver. I know what she's doing. And I love liver. Okay, so I'm just going to put it straight in on my oat flour. I'm going to use 4 slices. Thank you, Max. Stop eating your brother. And we want the blood and all. That's 3 slices. Malcolm's licking his lips. There you go, 4 slices. And we want all the goodness. There we go. Malcolm's like, oh Mom, here, let me help your hands. And I happen to have a nice sink full of soapy water right there. Okay, so 4 slices. Clean up the counter really quick. Yum, yum, yum. Malcolm. Yes. I've already preheated the oven. And I've got El spatula ready. I've got a sink full of hot soapy water ready. And I called it wax paper, but it's actually I'm using is parchment paper. For like when you're doing cookies and stuff. I've got that ready. So I'm going to pulse it. It's making a dough. And then I'm going to beat the crap out of it. should be good. Alright, so what you should get is a consistency a lot like this. Now it looks terrible, but you see it's kind of a paste. Okay, that's what we want. We want kind of a paste. Alright, so when we take this out, oop, thank you, Malcolm. Look. That's what we want. We want a paste. See how thick that is? There we go. So, yuck. Okay. Give me a minute. We'll get everything else set up. And we'll get that set onto our cookie sheet. I probably should put on gloves. And this is when it gets all kinds of sticky on your hands. We're just going to get all the goodness off of our blade here. Now, if you're using a food processor, be really careful because this blade is uber sharp. Found that out the first time. Okay. In you go. Let's get our parchment paper. Let's go to our cookie sheet. Don't ask me how big that is yet. Give me a second. Measuring device. Cookie sheet is 13 by 17. Technically, something like that. Anyways, it's big. Okay, so I'm going to put parchment paper on our cookie sheet. It does not have to be perfect. We just have to keep our goodness for our dogs. Ah! Bad parchment paper. From let go. Thank you. Yeah, that was exciting. Max, can you hand that to me? Thank you, buddy. Good boy. Oh, good boy. Yes, well, you'll get a liver cookie when it's cooked. Yes. Okay. Okay, so we're going to spread this out. Can you guys see what I'm doing? Let's see. That's not fair. There we go. We're going to spread this out on our parchment paper. That's why we're using a big cookie sheet. I'm getting a lot of goodness here. And if we don't get this bowl into hot water right away, we end up with liver glue in our bowl. And we don't want that. Which is why we had pre-prepped the sink. So we can do a real quick wash down of our bowl. Okay. Spatulas are good. Okay. So, there we go. We got that out. Prep time is really not that long. This is fantastic. And I'm fairly certain for Kenobi we can use ingredients that he can have, there we go, that would mix together well and you could cook up instead of liver and oats. Okay, so now we're just going to spread it out so it's just thin enough that it will cook up quickly. Kind of like a thin cookie. Okay, and we don't want our edges too thin, otherwise they kind of burn a little bit. There we go. We don't want our middle too fat. There we go. How nice is that? And then this is when we show how much we love our dog. It's the other reason why I have a sink full of water nearby. Edges up. Ta-da! And it turns out kind of like a little liver brownie. There we go. There you go. So we're going to put it in the oven at 350 for 30 minutes to start. Let's back this up. See, you guys are flying. This guy gets to go in with my lunch. And I just put him in the middle of the oven, like so. 30 minutes to start. I get to go in with my lunch. There you go. And then we check him. So I'll see you guys in 30. Alrighty. So we're at 32 seconds out from 30 minutes. In the background you're listening to my anemic swamp cooler. The motor needs to be lubricated. So it's kind of doing its up and down, trying to work thing. 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ta-da! Okay, so I'll go flying right up there now. Keep being told that I probably should not film shortly after I've taken my medication. Okay, so do not slide off the parchment. This is why we use parchment paper. Ha! So it's firm in the middle. This batch only needed 30 minutes. And what we're looking for, Max approved, what we're looking for is when we touch, we get a nice rebound. See that? Okay. So, we're going to let that cool down. As you saw, it was really loose on the parchment paper, which is why we use parchment paper. We don't want it sticking. We want it so that when we move it over to our cutting board, it just moves right to our cutting board. So that it's really easy to cut up into treats. So let's get it onto our cutting board so that, oh, you're flying. We can let it cool down. There we go. So look at that. One batch of yummy dummy liver treats. And standing in the background, looking very excited about the idea. What do you think, Max? Is our mascot. Thinking, ooh, Ooh. So these are definitely towel approved. What do you think? He's going to stand here and make sure they cool correctly. Yes. And we'll be back once they've cooled enough to cut. Okay, so let's get you over here. It's warm to the touch, but I can keep my hand on it, so I won't burn myself, which will make it easier to cut. I'm going to use my handy dandy knife that my son bought me. And my towel treat cutter is coming in to help me. He's very good at any dropped treats. Where is he? There he is. He's checking right now. So, okay. So, we call him the small red vacuum. So, what I do, see, we got a good angle on that? Okay. Is I cut a nice swatch down here. Now what you should have is consistency very much like a brownie. See? It's soft in the middle. Oop. Might help him. What do you think? Okay. So, very much like a brownie. Okay, so it's got a nice squish to it. It's going to be easy to break up when we're working out in the field. So I'm going to cut it again. I'm a lot of fun when I take my medication. Huh? Okay, so, and it's easy to split apart like this. I can move this off to the side now. And then I just go bump, bump, just like I would any hot dog or meat roll or anything like that. Now, these are still a little bit big, so I'm going to cut them again. And that's the great part about this treat, is because I didn't cook it so dry, it just breaks. I cooked it so I could easily cut it down to the size I wanted without it crumbling on me. So it's more like a brownie or a cookie that's easy to cut, and at this nice cool warm stage it's not crushing or crumbling right now. And I'm able to get some really nice cubes out of it. Now, let's see if this batch turned out as good as the last batch. Because today is field trip day and we're going down to Riverfront Park, and I'm making this batch for Malcolm. And I need to know if this is drool worthy or it's a dud. Because you never know. So far they've been sniffing at it pretty good. But it's the taste test that counts. So you get this first batch cut up, and then you feed it to the dogs, and if the dog looks at you like you murdered them, you've done it wrong. Oop, a little thin on that one. That one's good. That one needs to be cut down. And there, check that out. We've got some nice cubes. Just the right size for a German Shepherd or a Dachshund. A little bit big for an Aussie, or a little mini Aussie, but let's get 3 pieces. We've got our treat helpers over here. Hey boys! You want to check this out? What do you think? Ooh, Okay, what do you think? Ooh. Dieter? What do you think? Over there. Okay, still sniffing. Well, that's it. We are definitely towel approved. That was a good batch. Thank you, boys. Good job. Max says thank you. Peter says thank you. And Malcolm says, I can't wait to go to the park today. All right, boys. Toodles.